Hi, this is Alan Shea with Our Society Show, and we are here at an incredible event here at the Rose Bowl. We have a real esteemed gentleman here. We're going to let him introduce himself. But the real night is really all about how wonderful it is to be a Pasadena police officer who retires with class and the support of the community. And no one does it better than the man himself. So why don't you tell him about who we're here to celebrate and why?
Well, my name is Horace Wormley. I'm not a retired police officer, but I'm here to honor and celebrate Sergeant Thompson, Glen Thompson. Glen and I were talking last week, and he reminded me that outside of the Pasadena Police Department, my department, the Human Services and Recreation Department, and me in particular, were the first people he got to meet in Pasadena. So I'm really pleased and mindful of the fact and appreciate Glen for what he's done and what he's done for Pasadena and meant for me personally in this city. So we've developed a good working relationship during his tenure there. And as you can imagine, working for the Human Services and Recreation Department, we needed the support of the Pasadena Police Department. So forging that relationship with him and Pasadena PD was really great, and I'm honored to be here to honor him in his 31 years of working for the City of Pasadena Police Department. So, shout out to Sergeant Thompson.
And before I let you go, since you're a man who deals with the Parks and Recreation and how important it is for Northwest Pasadena and certainly Greater Pasadena, share with them the outreach and the public policing programs that were developed and he was actively involved.
Well, we had a number of programs that we had going on. We worked with the at-risk youth in Pasadena. In my department, we actually got a grant through the Department of Justice, and obviously it was a youth diversion grant. And so naturally, having those kinds of programs and that funding, we had to work hand in hand with the police department. And Glen played an instrumental role in us not only working with those at-risk youth, but reaching out to them and getting them in. And then, of course, Glen worked with the Explorer program, and I was really involved in working with him through that program as well. So I'm really, again, honored to be here to honor him and to support him in his retirement.
Well, and I must say before I let you go that what Glen demonstrated to me, I have never seen any officer who was always pleasant and smiling and positive as Glen Thompson. He's always a class act, and I commend him for that. And certainly it shows in the turnout he has here tonight, because it looks like it's probably about 400 or 500 people easy.
Absolutely. And just one other thing, my department coordinated the annual Black History Parade and Festival, and we would do what we call Senior Night Out, where we would honor the seniors in the city for their contribution to the African Americans, for their support and their contribution to African Americans in the city of Pasadena. And he would always be there and supportive, and really was an honor to have him there. And the seniors loved having him because he would get them up and dance and just joke with them, and just their life was really great, just having him there. So I really appreciate having Glen Thompson around.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, and we got to keep his legacy rolling in Pasadena, because I think he came in and gave us exactly what we need.
Amen. I agree to that.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
First of all, I just want to say, I'm Lieutenant Carolyn Gordon, and Sergeant Thompson is a wonderful person. He's been in this community for over 30 years, and I can't even tell you how many kids that he saved off the streets. If you look around and you look in this room and you look at these explorers, those are his kids. So kids who didn't have a father, didn't have a mother, he became their parent. And so he cares about the youth of Pasadena. So he may have retired in December, but he'll certainly be back in June. He's going to make sure that he comes and pays it forward because he loves this community as much as I love this community. Thank you.
Well, and before we let you go, we like to hear a little bit more stories about how did he get so involved with that? Because, you know, building on a community that he doesn't live in, he has to see something that really triggers him. And we're wondering if you could share with us, do you know what brought him into getting so involved? Because we have other officers that are from Pasadena that were not as involved as Glen, and I see Glen everywhere.
Well, I got to tell you, first of all, Glen loves children. And so his philosophy is to reach one, teach one. And I would love to say that that's all he's doing is teaching one, but he's taught hundreds, 200, probably thousands. If you look at it, he probably has, I would say, at least 50 youth that have gone from what we would say they were struggling while they were young, and they've come back to say thank you. And I think you heard a story earlier when the guy got up there and he says, I was one, I got in trouble, I was one of those kids. And so Thompson has no problem stepping up and being a father to those kids and teaching. It didn't matter whether you were male or female. If you needed a father figure, he was there. My own son didn't grow up in this community, but my son, he loves Thompson so much that he doesn't even call him Sergeant Thompson. He doesn't think Sergeant Thompson even exists. He calls him Corporal Thompson. Every time he sees him, he goes, Mom, I want to go say hi to Corporal. And so he's always lived with that, and that's because kids know that he speaks from his heart. And that's just obvious when you talk to him.
And that's why we're here today, because truly we have a class act that is retiring, and unfortunately we're going to miss him in the capacity of an officer, but hopefully we can embrace him as a person who's very active in our community and keeps his presence here.
You know, I would love to say that he's leaving, because that would be nice to say that he's leaving, but he has a legacy here, and he believes in this community. And so he's coming back here because this is where his roots were. He's been here for 30 years, and he's giving back. The moment that they let him go on his own, he started giving to the youth of this community. So I can tell you that it's been over 30 years. So I don't think that he can stop one day. He just took Explorers to a competition after he was retired. So that tells you how much he continues to want to give to this community.
Wow. Well, you know, I get excited because one of the things that I've always admired about Pasadena growing up as a kid is our interaction with police officers. And with me, it's always been great. And whatever I can do to elevate that participation, that's what I'm here to do. And that's why we want to make sure that the community appreciates the men and women in the blue and white, or the black and white, or with the shield, or whatever they want to refer, that really preserves the interest in the life and the quality we have here in Pasadena.
Well, I think as police officers, we have an obligation to do that. I think it's important for us to get out to the community and let the community know we're here to support you. If you need us, come to us, ask for our help. And see, the thing is, people will say that Sergeant Thompson is a kitty cop. And you know, in some way that's true. But I'll tell you this, he's not only helped kids, he's helped adults. He helps everybody because he's a giving person. And I think as we put on our uniform, and the way we put our uniform on every day, we put on this uniform to come out here and do the right thing for the right reasons. And Sergeant Thompson embodies that every day.
Wow, we want to thank you with that one, because you know what? If we can get good stories like this, we may start a new academy called the Class Officers Academy of Pasadena.
And you know what? And maybe Sergeant Thompson should teach it.
Absolutely. Hey, I think you just came up with something.
Wow, I think we came up with it together.
All right.
All right.
Well, we want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome to everybody from here. Glen Thompson. Let's hear it for Glen. Besides, give him a round of applause and really thank him for all of your service. There's more to it than that. The first part of the family. Thank you guys for allowing him to come to work for over 30 years and being with us, great family, and giving us purpose to his home every night. So we thank you for that. So for you guys, we owe you a round of applause for that. And And we also thank you for 2.0. All right? To have the next generation here with us doing a fantastic job. So I will stop just briefly for a moment and tell you that we're very fortunate to have Glen for all those years. We had some difficult years, tough years, and in those years, one thing you can count on, when you came to work, Glen put you in the right mood, in the right spirit to stay focused on. Over these decades, I've always counted on Glen to be there for us, for me, for everybody, during tough times, and he has, because that's his style. He's our Terry Tate in those commercials, where he'll tackle you when you do the wrong thing in the office. That's kind of Glen. Then he'll make sure you're doing the right thing when you're supposed to. I think we're fortunate for that.
Hi, we're back, and we have another one of, I would say, Officer Thompson colleagues with us, who can give us a little insight about how incredible is it working with a first-class, incredible gentleman and public servant.
Well, you said it right. Glen, or Sergeant Thompson, as we all know him, has been, a great individual for this organization, a great mentor, a great friend. The things that he's done for the youth of the city of Pasadena is incredible. His dedication, his devotion to the youth, it goes without measure. All the people that are here, as you can see, this isn't even a drop in the water of the people that he's impacted. All of us are here because he's somehow, some way made a mark on us. And it's my hope that the mark that he's made on me and the mark that he's made on them, we can now go forward and do the same thing that he's done for us. So, happy retirement, Sarge. It was great to work with you. It's great to be your friend. And I hope that I took something away from you.
Well, why don't you share with the viewers how involved was Officer Thompson in the community? Because when I met him, he just blew me away because of that. So why don't you give us some of your experience and what did you think about working with him with the type of programs, outreach, and everything else that this officer has done for Pasadena?
Just the sheer level of volunteerism that he has. He gave so much of his time, so much of himself to all the youth programs that the department has, to the various people that would come to the station and ask for help. It was touching. On his days off, he would come in to deal with people who needed help, community members that were looking for resources or for programs for their kids. For our Explorer post, he was always there. He comes in on his days off, early mornings, to take the kids to the academy. For the PAL program. The coaching and all the things that he used to put together for the kids. So it goes, again, I said it before, it's immeasurable, the amount of things that he did for the community.
And last, before we let you go, why don't you look into that camera and why don't you share with the viewers, especially here in Pasadena, how much of a role model that was for you coming into a Pasadena Police Department with veteran officers who understood community and understood how important it was to develop positive images, respect, and really what true public service is about.
Well, for me, more than anything, it was, he paved the way. They all paved the way for me. They showed me the way to do things. They modeled the way. They made it so that they made it so that I understood, and so that others of my tenure understood that it's how you treat people and how you make them feel that leaves that lasting image. And they always told me that you treat everyone with the respect that they deserve, and you make sure that everybody feels humanized by the contact that you've had.
Well, he's definitely done a great job with that, as you're doing. And I love seeing you hanging out and handling things here in Pasadena.
I appreciate it.
And definitely, viewers, you can see the quality of police officers we have in Pasadena that really serves this community and make it a great place to live.
Thank you.
So we want to thank you, and we're going to try and grab some of your other colleagues so they can give their experience.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
Officer
much.
Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Manager for making that happen. But I tell people that I got here not by myself. I couldn't have did this alone. I stand on the shoulders of giants. And some of those giants are in this room. So if you're a retired Pasadena police officer, please stand, because you're on the shoulders like I stood on. These are the people that help me get where I'm at. If you're a current Pasadena police officer, not retired, your shoulders are the ones that are going to stand up. Stand up. Okay, you stood up. Anyway, so asked to speak, they told me to do it for my part, but I still have to write it down. So, I'm going to speak directly to Glen. So, Sergeant Thompson, or more than just that, Glen Thompson, son, father, husband, brother. When I first came to PPP in 1992, you were a mentor, helping me get through the rough times, the rough spots during my training. So even though I was older when I got to the police department, I was a mature 32 years old, I had this young officer who, if he saw me struggling, he would always come up to me, you can make it. You can make it, Mom. But you can make it. You can make it. As the years passed, you became one of my examples. First you were a mentor, then you became an example. You were always keeping your head up and with a smile on your face. We got promoted on the same day to corporal. And you went to patrol, and I went to PAL. And I'm thinking, what could you do with a smile on his face? I can do it, right? So I head over to the PAL center. Oh boy. When I got there, what I saw were a bunch of baby kids and honeymoons. And I was like, how did he do this with the smile? How could he do this? And it was Glen who told me. He said, you don't see baby kids and honey boo boos. He said, look at young people with potential. These are young people with potential. All they need is a little guidance and a whole lot of love. And that's what you have poured into every young person that you come in contact with. And you've been a shining example for all of us on what community policing is meant to be. Thank you, Glen. Thank you for being a part of Pasadena Police Department. Thank you, family, for sharing them with us. And I wish you well on your next chapter of your life.
And we're back, and we have the chief of police right here who's going to give us some great stories about how incredible it is to have a class act on your team like Sergeant Thompson, who's just made this community a great place to live. So give us some insight, because you guys been around about almost the same time.
I was hired a year before Glen, and he's been fantastic for us. Everybody in this room has some connection to him from youth outreach, a nonprofit organization. You worked with him. He was part of a lot of our new units that we created. He was the original bike team. Way back when the 1980 bicycle pants were okay to wear at work. Wow. Since Glen, we stopped that, so that's no longer allowed. We wear regular shorts out there. But he's been around. I know Glen and myself helped to start the first Citizens Police Academy back under Chief Oliver, way back in the early 90s. So he has been with us through trying to improve the neighborhoods, through neighborhood outreach, to having to do the enforcement during the tough days when we had a drug epidemic and gang epidemics going on with a higher rate of violence. And the outreach he does now, I think Glen Thompson's responsible, I ended on this, for a drop in the crime all by himself with the outreach that he's done to 3 generations of people in our community. So,
and you know what's so beautiful about that, John? We was just sharing with Officer Gordon how incredible it is when you have somebody that engaged with the community, who reaps of nothing but positive energy coming from the police department, and who truly loves our youth and what he can do to encourage them. And with your new administration, with the kind of support you have, she and I was just talking about, are we ready to make a whole new academy called the New Class Acts of Pasadena?
And they're coming. And the nice part is Glen's going to be here working with youth after his retirement. So we're lucky he's already in the department working. With Glen, when you see Glen, you have to be ready to engage. You can't just sit back and say hello to Glen. You better get ready to get the hug, the talk, and get ready. And what are you going to achieve today? So we're fortunate to have him to keep on going. And with his son here and the family supporting us, it's just a new generation of the Pasadena Police Department we're proud of.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I'm gonna have to figure out how to clone him, you know, because only one son. He should have had a whole.
Yeah, whole 240, right?
Easy, you know, that way we would have.
Beyond that.
So we want to thank you so much for giving us some time, and the viewers, really how important it is for community and community engagement, and certainly with our chief here showing how great it is to have a team. Officer Gordon showing us how wonderful it is to enjoy working here in Pasadena and being a part, and then our community as a whole. We just want to thank you, viewers. We want to thank you, thank you, and thank you, viewers, for joining us today. All right, sir. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm out here. Yeah, we're done. Trying to handle the Northwest.
We need to get together.
Okay. You did. I appreciate it.
Okay, and we're now off. And thank you for having us today.
And
you know
what?
you kept calling me Officer Gordon. I'm Lieutenant Gordon.
Oh, Lieutenant. I'm sorry. I'm glad you corrected me, Lieutenant Gordon.
Has corrected him.
Because I'm going to be in your back pocket from now on.
Oh, is that right?
That's right, because we're going to have to make some real excitement in Pasadena and pick up where Glen is leaving off.
You know what? And I look forward to that.
Okay. And anything we can do to help you?
I'm going to remember
media,
that.
Right. Trust me.
All right. I'm going to
make it work.
that.
All right. Thank you. Hi, and we're back, and we are honored to have our city manager here who has a long history with Glen Thompson. So why don't you share with us your experience with him, and really how wonderful is it to have a class act here in Pasadena that resonates throughout our community?
Well, Glen Thompson really exemplifies everything that makes the Pasadena Police Department special. If every officer behaved like Glen Thompson, we would have the greatest police department in the world. Because we only have one Glen, we're just the best department in the nation. But really, his commitment to the community, his commitment to youth, his great sense of humor, his interactions with people, he's really all that we want to be. He shows the best face of the Pasadena Police Department. We're going to miss him terribly. You know, he started here just 1 month before I started in the city. I'm sorry to see him go. He's such a great guy. I wish him all the best.
And we want to just thank you. Well, we were able to catch some of the explorers who I understand were vital in Glen's interaction with the youth. So why don't you guys share some stories by starting out with your name and really what role did he play in your life?
Okay, I'm Amaya, guys. And so the role he played in my life was, he was a mentor, but also a father figure in my life. He taught me right from wrong, but also motivated me to become a better person.
What about with you?
Sergeant Thompson taught me true dedication. In the Explorers program, he's always there, like every detail, every meeting, he'll always be there for you. So.
And why don't you let the viewers know your name and how long you've been an Explorer?
My name's Madison, and I've been an Explorer for 3 years.
And why don't you give the viewers a real insight of how you were actually recruited, how did you gain interest to it, and what grade were you in when you found out about it, and what has it done to transition you to where you are today?
So we actually both were recruited in our law class at Pasadena High School our freshman year towards the end. That's how we were recruited. And I would say going into the Explorer program, I wasn't sure how I was going to turn out because I wasn't the best kid, but staying in here really opened me up and made me more confident in myself, and I was able to push through any obstacle that I face now. And that's that.
Well, what about you?
Like she said, I joined freshman year and Sergeant Thompson came into my law class and he was like dancing and singing and I was like, who is this weird cop? And so then I came to the meeting and that's how I joined.
Wow, so for the viewers' sake, because this is very interesting, because most people wouldn't know the background and certainly how an officer can spark your interest and certainly keep it because of the age difference and him being seasoned as a police officer. But why don't you share with the viewers really how important is it for somebody to really have that much insight about you and to be able to capture their attention and motivate them?
It's definitely really good to have that type of insight because you want someone who can connect with all types of kids and get along with them. So he kind of gets to know you from like your background and works with you that way and wants to know your future plans and how you're gonna be, and so he tries to push you to motivate you in different ways. So it's kind of like as in an inspiration. He never really changes. He'll have the times where he's funny and then he can be serious, but then it'll still make us want to be here because we know right from wrong and we know how we're gonna become better with him.
It's just nice to have an adult that you can relate to on the same level and an adult that can connect easily with kids, because sometimes that's hard to find because most adults will think we're immature or they just can't talk to us, but he's really good at relating to us and our lives and he cares about us.
We want to thank you for such insight. Let me shake your hand. And I'm very proud because it really inspires me to see young people who can seek the resources in their community and seize them to improve their own quality of life. So we want to thank you. And we want to thank you viewers for staying with us and enjoying these explorers and their experience with Officer Thompson and what he's done in their life. Thank you.